Hello, everybody. Welcome to Israel's Church of Living God. I'm Brother Rodney, and Brother Gerald will be reading today. And we'll be doing Black History Part 3, The Curses and Bondage. The Curses and Bondage. And so this will be the third part, and we'll be doing Part 4 next Sabbath on Black History. So this lesson here, particular lesson, we're going to deal with the curses and bondage. Because, you know, Israel was dispersed among all the nations. Israel was dispersed among all the nations. And they were dispersed among all the nations because God said that is what would happen to them. And if you look at our people, that has happened to us. We're the only ones that's been dispersed among all the nations on ships. So we got a lot of things to cover here today. And so this is like the coup de grace when it comes to us showing or proving that we are the children of Israel. So I want everybody to sit back and relax, and especially young men, sit back and relax and pay attention. Okay? But see, if our young people understood who they were, then a lot of them wouldn't be acting the way that they are. Amen. So I want you young men to sit back and pay attention. All right, so now we're going to Isaiah the 58th chapter first. Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. Because somebody needs to tell our people what our problem is. You know, we have men that's been protesting, and you know, we have Martin Luther King and all the way back to Frederick Douglass and the black activists and everything, but none of them told us what our problem was. And neither did they give a solution. So, you know, I said before, you know, when we hear about our black history, we always hear about it going back to 400 years. But our history goes back thousands of years, just like everybody else's. So we're going to pick this up in Isaiah the 58th chapter and verse 1. We're going to read that verse 1. Go ahead and read it.
Isaiah 58 verse 1. Cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sin.
Show my people their transgressions, and the house of Jacob their sin. Who is the house of Jacob? Israel. That's Israel. So show them their sins. Shout aloud like a trumpet. And that's what we're going to do today. That's what we're going to do today. Let's go now. Let's go to Amos, the 3rd chapter. Amos 3. Can somebody go down there and ask them, could they lower their voices? Amos, the 3rd chapter. Amos 3. And we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Amos 3 and 1. Go ahead and read.
Amos 3 verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore I will punish you for all your iniquities. Oh,
he said, out of all the families of the earth, you only have I known. And so I'm going to punish you, Israel, for your iniquities. I'm going to punish you for your sin. And we are being punished even to this day. We are still being punished for our ancestors' sins. Now, so we're going to look at some blessings right here, that the blessings that the Lord said that he would give the children of Israel if they kept his commandments. Then we're going to turn around in the next book and look at the curses that God said he would put on the children of Israel if they didn't keep his commandments. But first, let's go to Leviticus, the 26th chapter. Leviticus 26. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Leviticus 26 and verse 1. I got a lot to start here, verse 1 here. But anyway, Leviticus 26 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Leviticus 26 verse 1. You shall make you no idols, nor graven images, neither rear you up a standing image, neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it. For I am the Lord your God.
Now he said, you know, don't have no idols and no images and everything. Don't rear them up and stand up and bow down to them. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord.
See, you know, he always throwing Sabbaths in there. When he started giving the children of Israel commands, he always throws the Sabbath in there. Or the Sabbaths with an S. Read that one more time.
Verse 2. You shall keep my Sabbaths and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord.
Go ahead.
If you walk in my statutes and keep my commandments and do them, then will I give you rain in due season. And the land shall yield her increase, and the trees of the field shall yield their fruit. And your threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and you shall eat your bread to the full.
See, so you know, if you keep my commandments, and what's the basic necessity that man needs? Food, right? So he said, you know, you keep my commandments, I'm going to feed you. Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And I will give peace in the land, and you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land, neither shall the sword go through your land.
Go ahead.
And you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you.
Look, I'm going to make you warriors. I'm going to make you warriors before the people. You're going to chase your enemies. Go ahead and read.
Verse 8. And 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 you shall put 10,000 to flight. And the enemy shall fall before you.
Look, I'm going to make y'all warriors before the nations. I'm going to make sure you eat. I'm going to make sure you're going to be a warrior. Nobody's going to mess with you or none of this. Go ahead and read. What verse you at?
Verse 9. For I will have respect unto you, and you fruitful, and make you fruitful, and multiply you, and establish my covenant with you.
Go ahead.
And you shall eat old store, and bring forth the old because of the new. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you.
He said, look, I'm going to set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor you. What does abhor mean? Hate. Go ahead and read. Because a lot of people say, well, God don't hate nobody. You haven't been reading this Bible. Go ahead and read.
Verse 12. And I will walk among you, and will be your God, and you shall be my people.
This is what the plan was. As long as you follow my commandments and keep my statutes, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to make sure you got something to eat. I'm going to make you a warrior. I'm going to make you fruitful. And establish my covenant with you. And even look, I'm going to set up my tabernacle among you. And I'm going to dwell with you. Verse 13. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 13. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that you shall not be their bond. Out of the land of Egypt, that you should not be their bondmen.
That you should not be their bondmen in Egypt. I'm going to bring you out of the land of Egypt. Well, I have brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, that you should not be their bondmen anymore. Finish that.
And I have broken the bands of your yoke and made you go upright.
Look, I done took all the pain and suffering, I done took that all off of you. So now you're getting a fresh start where you're going to walk upright before me. Now let's look at this a little bit more. Let's go to Deuteronomy 28 chapter. Deuteronomy 28. We're going to Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 1. When you get it, go ahead and read.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations.
Now, can you imagine that? The Lord gonna set you high above all the nations of the earth. I mean, you gonna be on top, Israel.
Amen.
Boy, I wish our forefathers had kept this. We'd be on top right now. Go ahead and read.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
And all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee. And thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Almost what he said in Leviticus 26 chapter. So, you know, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take whatever you need, you're going to have it. Skip down to verse 15. Skip to verse 15. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Just like the blessings were going to overtake you, if you keep my commandments, if you don't keep my commandments, all these curses going to overtake you. Go ahead and read.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep.
Go ahead.
Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out.
See, so now if you don't keep my commandments, everything you do, I'm going to curse it. Whether you be in the field or in the city, the fruit of your land, I'm going to curse everything. The fruit of your body, I'm going to curse everything. If you don't keep my commandments. Now let's see real quick what happened. Were they cursed or not? Because I know this is not popular among a lot of our people. Oh no, we're not cursed. You know, get out of here with that, man. You believe that? And when I was 15, 16 years old in high school, I used to tell my buddies, hey man, something is wrong with our people. We must be cursed. Didn't know, only thing I knew was the name Jesus. That's it. I didn't know nothing about the Word of God. Only thing I knew was the name Jesus. But I knew something was wrong when it came to our people. All these things happening to, why is all these things happening to our people like this? We must be cursed. And when I got older, I think I was around 30 years old when the Lord opened my eyes up. And I'm like, man, this is us. This is us. Isaiah 43. Isaiah 43. And we're going to pick it up at verse 27. Isaiah 43 and 27. Go ahead and read that.
Isaiah 43, verse 27. Thy first father hath sinned.
See, he says that your first father have sinned.
And thy teachers have transgressed against
Look, the prophets were sinning, the people, the fathers, the elders, they were sinning. Everybody went mad. What did verse 28 say?
Verse 28. Therefore I have profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse.
And have given Jacob to the curse. Go ahead and read.
And Israel to reproaches.
And Israel to reproaches. So now we understand that Jacob was cursed, or Israel was cursed. Now, we're gonna read these scriptures, and we're gonna get back to the curses in a minute, but we're gonna show you that we indeed fit these curses. Because Israel was not blessed, they were cursed. You know, we got a brother keep saying, well, see, that's what's wrong with you Hebrew Israelites. Y'all don't read the curses. Y'all don't consider the curses. What are we going to consider the curses for? The blessings, rather. Y'all don't consider the blessings. I'm like, what are we going to consider the blessings for when we know the children of Israel were cursed? Right. Only thing we can do is read them and weep. That's all we can do when it comes to the blessings. Because our people were cursed. We just read it. Read that verse 28 one more time. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 28. Therefore have I profaned the princes of the sanctuary, and have given Jacob to the curse. and Israel to reproaches.
See, I have given Jacob to the curses and Israel to the reproaches. So now what we need to look at or concentrate on the blessings for? Why would we concentrate on that? Well, we know that Israel was cursed. Let's go to Jeremiah 14 chapter. Jeremiah 14. And we're going to pick it up at verse 2. Jeremiah 14 and verse 2. So, once we look at these curses, if you don't see Israel, you don't see us, then I don't know who you're looking at. I don't know. And, I got a Jewish friend that I've been talking to, and I hope he's watching. Because if he's not watching, I will be sending him this lesson. Because these curses does not fit you all. It's that simple. It is that simple. I know, you got some people out saying, well, Israel was taken out of Jerusalem on 2 ships. What? We're talking about a worldwide bondage or worldwide captivity. Not on no 2 ships. That don't even make sense. But anyway. Jeremiah 14 and 2. Jeremiah 14 and 2. Go ahead and read it.
Jeremiah 14 verse 2. The word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah concerning the earth.
Jeremiah 14 and 2.
Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground.
They are what?
They are black unto the ground.
They are black unto the ground. So the children of Israel are black people. You hear that word Niger? That Negro, that's what the word Negro means, black. Niger, black. They said, look, Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish, they are black unto the ground. That's black, isn't it? Go ahead and read.
And the cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
Now, why are they crying and everything, and why are they black as the ground and, and mourning and all this? Because the Lord told Israel, look, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. If you don't, I'm going to curse you. And so at this time right here, they were going through a famine. Verse 3, what does it say?
Verse 3. And their nobles have sent their little ones to the waters. They came to the pits and found no water.
See, you sent their little ones to go get water and everything. But when they got there to get the water, there was no water in the pits. Because God put a famine on them, a drought. Go ahead and read.
They returned with their vessels empty. They were ashamed and confounded and covered their heads.
Go ahead.
Because the ground is chapped, for there was no rain in the earth. The plowmen were ashamed. They covered their heads.
Go ahead.
Yea, the hind also cowed in the field, and forsook it, because there was no grass. And the wild asses did stand in the high places. They snuffed up the wind like dragons.
See, look, they don't know no wild ass. He out there, he's snuffing up in the air. No water. Because the Lord, when he put something on you, boy, he put a drought on you. He put a drought on you. Even the animals, they can't find no water. They sniffing up in the air. Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. And the wild asses did stand in the high places. They snuffed up the wind like dragons.
Go ahead.
Their eyes did fail because there was no grass.
Look, there wasn't no grass to eat, so they try to eat by snuffing up in the air. They try to eat. Because the Lord put this drought on them. And when the Lord put a drought on you, he puts a drought on you. Let's go now. Let's go to Lamentations 5th chapter. Let's continue this. Look at this right here. Lamentations 5, and we're going to pick it up in verse 1. Lamentations 5 and 1. Because God knows how to do this people when they get out of line. He knows how to check them. I'll make it where they won't have nothing to eat. You know Israel love to eat. I'll fix them. But I ain't gonna lie, I do love to eat. Lamentations 5:1. Lamentations 5:1. Go ahead and read it.
Lamentations 5 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Consider, and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens.
Look, he done took their land from them and gave it to strangers. And we're going to show you in the next leg of this series here how long people been fighting over that land. Because we're going to read in the next lesson, strangers devour your land in your presence. And our land is still being devoured right in our presence. We're so far gone, we don't even know it's our land. That's how bad it is among our people. We don't even consider that being our land. Verse 1. Lamentations 5. Read that verse 1 again.
Lamentations 5 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Consider, and behold our reproach.
Uh-huh.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers, our houses to aliens.
Go ahead.
We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Our necks are under persecution.
Now, he said our necks are under persecution now? Gentile got his foot in our neck and everybody else. The Hamite, everybody got their foot in our neck. Why? Because our God has done this to us. That's why. Because our forefathers would not keep his laws and commandments, and even now our people still won't keep God's laws and commandments. We have been taken off into all these countries, and then we let the people, the natives of that country, tell us how to serve God. And if you're not serving the true and living God, you come and serve our God. I don't care if it's Islam, Buddha, Judaism, you name it. We worship everybody else's God but our own. And our God is God. Amen. But who done this to us? Our God did. The God of Israel, he done this to us. Go ahead and read. You're going to see. Just hold on a minute. Go ahead and read.
Verse 5. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
Go ahead.
We have given the hand to the Egyptians.
Because the Egyptians had us in slavery first. Go ahead and read it.
And to the Assyrians.
Now the Assyrians had us in slavery second. Then come the Babylonians. Several times the Babylonians had us in captivity. First it was the Egyptians. Then here come the Assyrians. Then here come the Babylonians. Babylonians pass us down to the Medes and the Persians. The Medes and the Persians pass us down to the Greeks. The Greeks pass us down to the Romans. That's why Jeremiah asked that question. Israel, are you a homeborn slave? Because ever since we have been a nation, we have been slaves. And that should tell you something right there, who the children of Israel are. Because the one that's calling himself a Jew, he ain't been in no slavery and no worldwide captivity. I don't know where that cold air is coming from. Go ahead and read.
Verse 6. We have given the hand to the Egyptians and to the Assyrians.
Go ahead.
To be satisfied with bread. Our fathers have sinned.
Our fathers have sinned. Go ahead.
And are not. And we have borne their iniquity.
And we have borne their iniquity, and we are still bearing their iniquity, even to this generation. We still bear this iniquity. Skip down to verse 10. What did he say?
Verse 10. Our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine.
Now, how can you miss that? That is plain as day. He said our skin was black like an oven because of a terrible famine. What happens to us when we get sick? We get darker. We get darker. when we get sick. So he said our skin was black like an oven because of the terrible famine. So the children of Israel are dark-skinned people. Now, let's go now. Let's go to Hosea, the 4th chapter. Because, you know, this people, although they did some good, it was very short. It was very short. Because they were in and out of slavery, in and out of the land. You know, they go into Babylon. They start crying to the Lord, Lord, please help us, Lord. And the Lord would help them. Then they start waxing fat and kicking. Lord, have somebody come in there and get them again. Take them into slavery. Lord, please save us, Lord. The Lord will come and save them. Take them back to their country. What do? Go back to sinning again. And this happened time after time after time. The Lord said, you know what? That's enough. I done had it up not to here with y'all, but up to here with y'all. So now, y'all going into a worldwide captivity. Can you close that door right there? Now you're going into a worldwide captivity. And we are the only ones that have been put into a worldwide captivity. We had Hosea 4 and 1. Hosea 4 and 1. When you get it, go ahead and read it.
Hosea 4 verse 1. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel. For the Lord hath a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land.
See, they're running around in the land, no mercy, no truth. You understand? Without no knowledge, running around in the land. God done gave them the glory of all lands and given them the truth, and here they are, no knowledge in the land, no mercy, no truth, no nothing. Everybody just running around crazy. Go ahead and read. What were they doing? Now this taking place in the land, he said, didn't he? What were they doing? Go ahead and read.
Verse 2. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out and blood touches blood.
Look at what they were doing in the land. Same thing our people are doing now. Lying and stealing and committing adultery. They break out and blood touches blood. What do we call that? Black on black crime, we call it. They were doing it in the land, and our people are still doing this against each other. Now, if this don't fit us, you tell me who this does fit. Skip down to verse 4. Skip down to verse 4. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 4. Let no man strive, nor reprove another. For thy people are as they that strive with the priests. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night.
The priest don't went bad, the people don't went bad, the prophet don't went bad, everybody has went bad. So you know if the prophet and the priest go bad, what's going to happen to the people? They're going to go bad too. Israel, your prophets have caused you to err and to go astray. The prophets have, and your pastors. Even now, we don't call them prophets today. We call them pastors. They have caused us to err. But let's get down into this. Go ahead and read some more.
Verse 5. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night. And I will destroy thy mother.
Go ahead.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Oh, that's what I'm looking for right there. He said, look, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. See, we have let all the other people tell us how we're supposed to serve God. He said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We're supposed to be teaching everybody teaching us. And we follow in hook, line, and sinker. We'll argue with you. If I was to bring this word to one of my brothers, they would argue me about this. And they could be reading the same book and calling themselves a Christian. And if I bring this, what I'm bringing to you today, they would argue me up and down. Just got off the phone last night talking to my brother, and they argued me up and down. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee.
Ooh. Because you reject knowledge, I'm going to reject you, Israel. Go ahead and read.
That thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I also forget thy children.
Ooh. I mean, those are some big words right there, because it looks to me like that's what God has done when it comes to this people. He said, look, you reject me, I'm going to reject you. You reject knowledge, I'm going to reject you. And you forgot me, I'm going to forget you. And not only am I going to forget you, I'm going to take a step further. I'm going to forget your children too. And we as a people, God has forgotten about his people. Verse 7, go ahead.
Verse 7. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame.
You got a whooping coming. I told you, if you keep my commandments, I'm going to bless you. If you don't, Israel, I'm going to curse you. This is what happened to it. This is what has happened to our people. This is why we're in the condition that we are in, even in this country. You're looking at the one that, you're looking at the bat. You know, cat got a bat in his hand, he's swinging it. You're looking at the bat instead of looking at the one who's swinging the bat. And the one who's swinging the bat is God. And he's swinging it right at your head. Let's go now. Let's go back to Deuteronomy 28th chapter. Deuteronomy 28th chapter. It's time for our people to wake up, man. Amen. How long are we going to sleep? How long are we going to sleep? Then they got what they call the conscious community. Yeah, we waking people up. Waking them up to what? As far as I'm concerned, you're still asleep. Because it didn't know Egypt didn't birth me. This right here, this is what birthed me right here, Israel. Amen. Not no Kemetic, not no Islam, not no Nuwapian, none of that stuff birthed me. See, we got proof of who we are. If you want some Bible, you're going to get it today. Amen. You want some history, you're going to get it today. And our scriptures, our history lines up with the scripture. That one that called himself a Jew, does his history line up with the Bible? His history does not line up with the Bible. Now, you know, I have brothers say, well, you know, man, how do we get all these different religions amongst us when we all came off the slave ship? Well, I'm going to show you today. All you can do is be quiet, put the cotton in your mouth, take it out your ears, and put it in your mouth. We had Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28. Now we're going to pick it up in verse 15. Deuteronomy 28, 15. We're going to read that again. Go ahead and read it.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, and thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now what happened with the children of Israel? They were cursed. They were cursed. Skip down to verse 25. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before the enemy, before thy enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed.
Now remember, he said, look, your enemy's going to flee from you, Israel. But now that you're accursed, you're going to flee 7 ways from them. You're going to flee 7 ways. They're going to put you on the run. Read that verse again.
Verse 25.
Instead of you putting your enemies on the run, they're going to put you on the run now. Go ahead and read.
The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
Ding, 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 ding. Who are the ones that were removed into all the kingdoms of the earth? We are. This is a historical fact. This is documented history right here. Even got the slave ships. And so when you come to the Black History Program this June, you're going to hear all of it. You're going to hear all of it. You're just getting the tidbit right now. Just wait till the Black History Program. We're going to show you locations and everything in West Africa. Because that's where they said most of us come from here in America is from West Africa. But you're not going to be on location, but you're going to see the locations. Even got some ports called Judah. Let me move on. I'm giving y'all too much. Skip down to verse 52. Skip down to verse 52. See, this thing is undeniable. When you start doing some real research on this and find out something, this thing is undeniable who we are. Skip down to verse 52. Go ahead and read it.
Verse 52. And he shall beseech thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Go ahead.
Wherein thou trustest throughout all thy land. And he shall beseech thee in all thy gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee.
Now, when was Israel besieged in all their land? That was in 70 A.D. Now, Moses telling you this all the way back in 1400 something B.C. What's going to happen to the children of Israel in the 1st century? You're going to be besieged in all thy gates. Man, this is really something. You're talking about prophecy. That's the main thing that I tell those people in the Kemetic community. Okay, y'all can talk about the Egyptian mummies and all this stuff and the pyramids, but you can't touch prophecy.
That's right.
You can't touch it. You can't even deal with it. I'm supposed to be doing a debate with a brother. You know what? I said, no, I ain't going to even do no debate with your brother because he don't have a clue. He don't have a clue. Past, present, or future history or prophecy. He don't have a clue. So I say, you know what? I'm bowing out of it. I ain't going to even do him like that. So skip down to verse 64. Because he talking about now tearing down Jerusalem, besieging their gates, then he gonna scatter them. Skip to verse 64. Go ahead and read. We can't read you every time the children of Israel was taken into slavery and scattered into slavery, but we're gonna give you where they were scattered when the time of the worldwide scattering came. We're gonna show you that. Verse 64. Go ahead and read that.
Verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
Stop right there. Now you see that? And the Lord shall scatter you among all people. I remember I was working at this candy store, candy factory, and I was a truck driver for him. Do you know a Guatemalan guy came to me and said, yeah, because he gave me a video, say, look, check this out. And I wasn't looking, I'm just, thinking about, tourist attractions. So I'm just looking at video. So he said, look, check this out. Next thing I know, I see some black people pop up there. I come back to him, I said, man, y'all got black people in Guatemala? He said, yeah. Don't you know y'all in all the nations? I was looking at him like, what? He said, yeah, man, y'all in all the nations. Now, other people know this, but we don't.
Right.
Start at verse 64 again.
Verse 64.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people.
Uh-huh.
From the one end of the earth unto the other.
Uh-huh.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
Go ahead.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known.
Now we can stop right here. Because you know this fit us. We can stop right here. He said, look, the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods. We serve everybody else's God but our own. When it comes to Islam, look, they done had us in slavery for 1,400 years. What we doing? Following after their God. This country here, they call it "In God We Trust." They say they trust in God, but then we come to this country, what we start following? Their gods. Every country that Israel goes, the Lord say, look, don't follow after the other gods. What does Israel do? Follow after the other gods. We in Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Judaism, you name it, we're in it. Christianity in that too. Now we are Christians, but we don't practice Christianity. Because that's Roman Christianity. Does everybody understand?
Amen.
And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods,
which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Even wood and stones. So when we came over here to this country, we didn't know nothing about these gods, but we learned. And start serving their gods from generation to generation. Okay, we're going to get that map together right here. Now, so this is a map of the world, a world map. So I just wanted you to get an idea of what we're dealing with. You got it, Aaron? This is what, I want y'all to get an idea of what we're dealing with. We're talking about a worldwide captivity. Didn't he say, Israel, you're going to be removed into all the nations of the earth? And we're going to find out a little later, how were they removed into all the nations of the earth? So now you got Israelites was in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas. And that looked like the four corners of the earth to me. Like, he go Africa right here, you got slaves there too. So just go on this little journey with me for a minute. All right, go on this little journey for me, because it's a method to my madness. So now, we're looking at a worldwide captivity. All the continents Israel was scattered on. Now that one that called himself a Jew, was he scattered on all the continents like this? Now, let's go now. We're going to go to Psalms, the 83rd chapter, because God used people to do this. He didn't come down here and do it himself or bring some angels down here to do it. He had people to do this. Now let's see some of the people that's conspired to do this. We're going to Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Psalm 83. I know this is hard for people to swallow, but it is the truth. It is the truth. It's hard for people to swallow this. You know, we done had these people bamboozled and hoodwinked for all these years, and now here comes the truth. Israel popping up everywhere. Even in Britain, had some Israelites standing there hollering on the microphone with their costumes on, saying that they Israel. Got people over in Africa, been saying, and they got records go back 3,000 years, saying that they were from the tribe of Dan. And you know what? The ones that call themselves Jews acknowledge them as being the tribe of Dan too. They acknowledge them. Amongst other tribes that are over there, like the Limba tribe. I mean, the Jewish guy, I already know him for 10 years, I've been doing this. He told me, he said, yeah, the people over there in Africa called the Limba tribe, their DNA traced back to Aaron's, Moses' brother. I'm like, look at this guy. But I've been knowing about it for 10 years. We've been teaching about this for years. But it was really something to hear a Jewish guy to say that. That was really something. Now, we're in Psalms 83, and we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Psalm 83 and 1. It's like the Lord is starting to really wake his people up now. Not with that Kemetic stuff in Egyptology. I ain't talking about that type of stuff. Conscious community stuff. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about with this book. He's waking his people up. Psalm 83 and 1. Go ahead and read it.
Psalms 83 verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult.
Thy enemies make a tumult. Go ahead.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Now look, the psalmist right here, Asaph, he wrote this. He said, they that hate thee, or I'm sorry, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. These people hate the Lord. Go ahead and read.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Go ahead. Against who?
Thy hidden ones.
See, we're in front of everybody's face, but yet we are hidden. You understand what I'm saying? Just like this bottle right here, set right there. Lord is so wise and so smart. He said, look, I'm going to set this bottle right here in front of you. Still ain't going to see it. Because that's what he did with the children of Israel. Put us right in front of everybody and nobody paying attention. When he wanted to hide Moses, what did he do with him?